Back to work on the C10 here. We did get the front cover all cleaned up. As you can see, we have it pushed back into place. Now, one thing I've seen a lot of people not do, and you really should do on these, is align the front cover, especially when the oil pan is on. That gasket kind of pushes it up out of place. There are no dowel pins in here to locate it, and it moves around quite a bit. So here is a installer or alignment tool. Of course, it fits on the crank snout. It also fits snug into the bore of the front cover, and as you can see here, it doesn't go in right now, so this cover is actually offset that way. We'll move that around a little bit, get this tool to actually go in over the crank snout and into the bore where the seal would go. You do have to remove the seal to use this particular tool. We'll get that lined up. We'll go ahead and snug our bolts down, and don't forget your two coming up from the oil pan, one on either side, and then we'll be ready to reinstall our balancer here. Another nice thing about this alignment tool is it also doubles as a seal installer. You can put your seal on there, put this over the snout of the crank, and just tap it right in. The seal will bottom out and you are good to go. Front cover's on, balancer's on. Now we're working on the water pump. We're just going to keep going here and putting the rest of this front accessory drive back together, and just really putting the truck back together at this point. We got the front drive back on. We still have to put the bottom pulley on, but we'll get that up in the air. To do that, we'll get that belt installed. We're getting ready to drop the radiator back in, hook the fans up, and be done with this whole front of the motor. Cam install. We're getting ready to pull the intake. It's just setting there. Pull it back off. Pull the valve covers off. We'll do our valve springs. I'll show you how to do that on one cylinder, and we'll just get the rest done. And we're getting close here, guys. All right, we got the black Escalade EXT all stripped down. Everything we want off of it. Loaded up on the trailer here, obviously. I think I'm actually gonna have them, I unbolted the body. I think I'm just gonna have them lift the body off, and I will, I think, keep the frame for now, because we have a project that I might try to use this on. If not, we'll just take a couple more things off the frame and haul it back down. But fortunately we are close, so let's jump in the quadra-steer here and we'll get headed off to the scrapyard. So we're on the scale, obviously, and the combined weight is 11,120 pounds with this heavy girl, the trailer, and that scrap. All right, so how much does a stripped down Cadillac EXT body weigh? We're about ready to find out. So we're pulling back on the scale here. Here's the Yukon, here's the trailer, so 99.2, well, with me in it, so I got to get out to make it fair here. So you're about ready to see what I weigh. 97.80. Time to make a little bit more progress on the C10 here. We did get the old power booster master cylinder setup off. We have the Willwood manual master cylinder test fit on there. It seems to fit. We do have to get an extension for the rod to connect to the pedal. We have the clevis, but we need an extension for the rod. It was on back order, so we're waiting on that. We'll just kind of stop on that for now, and we're going to jump back on the motor side here. As you can see, we have the valve cover off. We do need to change out these valve springs. The cam that's in this motor now, that Texas Speed cam we just installed, needs a good double valve spring. So we have the PAC 660 springs here from Texas Speed. You pop them open here. As you can see, they're the nice polished dual spring. Comes with new valve seals, the one-piece valve seal, retainer at the whatever you call it, the shim at the bottom, and retainer, and valve seal, and our retainers too. You reuse your factory locks, but these are the titanium dual spring retainers, and they are again from Texas Speed, of course. So let's go ahead, and we have the air or we have the fitting put in the cylinder here. We'll hook the air hose up to it. That will actually pressurize the cylinder, keep the valves held up by air pressure. Then we can put our tool on there, and like I said, I'll show you how to do the first one, and then we're just going to knock out the rest because it's kind of boring after you see how one is done. All right, to use this tool, this is actually, I got it from Texas Speed, but it's a Comp Cams valve spring compressor. It's kind of funny looking. Different bolts for different heads, like LS7 has, and the LT series motors has the boss built right into the head. The older LS's do not, so you have to use one of the stands. I have an old one here, so you just take that, drop the bolts down through. This is slotted, so we'll get the bolts started here, run them down. The stand positions correctly the compressor. Let me go ahead and get these run down. The next step here is to start this bolt that actually runs down and compresses. And then we have this little plate here. We'll slip it in over top of the valves, or over top of the springs, and we'll run this bolt down. It's got a centering spot in it. I should have ran the bolt down a little further. They're all a little bit different. Sometimes they're actually, it's hard to get this plate in, but all right, we got it started now. As you can see, it centers right over top of those valve springs. There we go. And we'll just crank down on that. First, we'll hook our air up here, get some air in that cylinder, hold those springs up. I have did this before. You can actually run that cylinder, whatever cylinder you're working on, you can run the piston top dead center, compress this, and the valve drops ever so slightly and touches the top of the pistons. You just have to be very careful. You don't want to bend the valves. It's always better if you have air to pressurize the cylinder. The piston's all the way at the bottom of the cylinder at that point. The valves are held up by the air pressure in the cylinder, and they're at the top, of course, and then you can pop this apart and change. So let me go ahead, we'll get a ratchet for that. We'll get some air in the cylinder, and I'll show you how it's done. Tighten this up, and you can see, you can watch that go down. Now you're just gonna press this enough to where we can get these keepers out, and we'll get a magnet, and I'll compress this down a little bit, and sometimes you do have to jiggle these around, maybe break them loose with a screwdriver. That one's loose, so that should pull right out with a magnet. Let me get my magnet here. All right, so we just have our little pen magnet here. We'll go through here. All right, so they're loose, but we need a little bit more. See if this one, yeah, this one, they pulled out, or at least the one did. We'll grab it so it doesn't fall. These magnets are pretty strong, so you usually don't have any issues with them falling. We'll go a little bit more. So this side should pull right out now. Oh, still need a little more. All right, we'll get that. Sometimes you do have to push up a little bit on these tops. Let me go ahead and get those two keepers out. With just a tiny bit of persuasion, we got those other two keepers out. So we'll just back up on this and try to keep this stuff from falling. All right, you don't have to remove that bolt. It does have some thickness there. Just back it up so it comes through. And it's very light spring pressure now, but you can just kind of push down on the spring, pull this plate out. With those out of the way, we have our new stuff here. And here is the retainers. So there's the old one. As you can see, it's a smaller diameter. The new one is a larger diameter for the new spring. And as you can see, there's two steps there. And that is because there are two springs on the new one. So if we take this and we're going to set that on top, a little bit hard to do here, set that on top, so that actually covers both of those springs, and it covers the whole top of the outer spring and holds that second inner spring. So make sure you use your new retainers with your new springs. And we're just about ready to go back together. Now these heads are new. They are the PRC heads. They just didn't have the right springs on them. And you do want to use your new valve springs that come in this kit, because again, that bottom shim, retainer, spring pocket, whatever you want to call it, is actually larger diameter than what was on there for the single beehive spring. So these are very easy to install. There's already some oil on there. You just kind of drop them down and it seats itself right on the bottom. And when you put the spring on, these are one-piece seal combos. So once you put the spring on, it pushes it right down in place and seats that fail-proof. And with our new springs dropped in place there, we want to center them over the valve there, get our plate. You got to actually kind of push down, compress them slightly with your hands and get that plate on there. We'll go ahead and tighten this up and get it tightened down just far enough to get our keepers back inside there. And once we have them snapped down in there, it takes a little finagling to get them in there. We're just going to keep an eye on, make sure they don't jump out. We're just going to release the pressure here. And as you can see, they lock themselves right into place. And with that done, we can back our bolt off, get our plate out of the way. We'll back these two bolts off, and this cylinder is done. We'll move down and do the next one. Like I said, I'm only going to show you one because it's 8 more of these, 16 more, or yeah, 16 springs altogether, 8 cylinders, of course, and it's just kind of repetitive, but that's how you do it. Fairly easy, just takes a little bit of patience, and just make sure you don't drop them keepers. Just whatever you do, if you are using the air, just don't forget to move your air to the next cylinder and hook it up before you release those valve springs and keepers. Guys, we took a little break from the shop. It's a dreary, rainy day, unfortunately. We do have Scout with us, but we are on our way to check out a vehicle. It'd be an extremely cool build. We'll just get there and see if we can make it happen and kind of go from there. But we are in, obviously, the Quadra-Steer. We don't have the trailer just because it's so nasty and rainy today, and the vehicle we're going to look at is big, so it wouldn't work for our car trailer. We would have to borrow a bigger trailer. But if that is a hit, that's a pretty good hit. Scout just put the window down and scared himself. Maybe we should actually lock the windows so he can't do that. He went to rest his head on the armrest there and hit the window button, and of course then air comes in and he scared himself, is what I'm trying to say, but pretty funny. Jump out and check it out. I'm not going to record. I don't know how this guy is. He hasn't come out yet, but we'll catch up in a minute. Sorry for the tease there, guys. We need to go pick that up actually tomorrow. Today's Thursday. We're picking it up Friday. So it's a cool project. We need to get, as always, we need to get it home, look over it, decide exactly what we're gonna do. I really think we're probably gonna turn a couple of the projects that have been kind of lingering here at the shop, turn them out, put them for sale, just part ways. And actually, I think, again, don't hold me to this, but I think we're actually going to build this one. It should be a nice rig for us, nice project, whatever you want to call it. I think that's what we're going to do, but we're picking it up tomorrow. We'll do a full video of picking it up and then a full review of when we get home, exactly what we got. So sorry about that. We did, however, get a new GoPro, and a big thank you to a giant supporter of the channel. Most of you never really see or never really know, but my wife Jessica, she actually, the GoPro we're on right now, she bought last year about this time, and surprised me today. Actually, it came with another new GoPro. So this is the Hero 9. We're on the 8 right now, and the big difference on the 9, if I can get it out here, we haven't even unboxed it and put it together yet, It does have the screen on the front, so you can see what you're recording when you're pointing it at yourself talking. That's the biggest change, I think. I thought. However, when I went to grab a charged battery and actually grab this one, I noticed it's bigger. So if you are looking for to upgrade to the GoPro Hero 9, which is what this is, let me make sure. Yes, it's the 9 Black. It's a bigger battery, so that's how they get the longer battery life, which is great. Unfortunately, the accessories you have will not work with this bigger battery, so I have the 2 battery charger, fast charger, and this won't fit in it, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and take that out, and let me get this set up and we'll switch over in 3, 2, 1. So there you have it, guys. I think we have everything set up. Let me know if you see any improvements. I really did like the 8, and I will continue to use the 8. The 9, obviously we're on right now, and I can see myself as I'm talking, which is kind of weird, but at least I know what I'm pointing at, and I'm not just shooting in the dark. So cool. Thank you very, very much to Jessica. Let her know in the comments. It's very weird seeing yourself, I'll tell you. After not seeing yourself for or long years that we've been doing this. But anyway, let Jessica know in your comments. She's very much a huge supporter. You guys may not see it, but without her, I could not do the kind of crazy stuff that we're doing in here. I mean, she may not like everything we do, but she definitely supports it. And yeah, that thing's crazy. Anyone that puts up with me doing stuff like that definitely deserves a thank you. So anyway, guys, stay tuned for the reveal of the big project. And well, we don't even know it's a big project. I think it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it will be. I'm kind of excited about it, actually. I think most of you will be excited too. And we just need to, it's springtime, we need to get some stuff kind of done. That reminds me, we did get the motor pretty well situated, stripped down to get ready. We still have to install the cam in. We're waiting on springs, but they are on their way. Should be here actually tomorrow. And we can get the motor and trans, the new motor and trans, the 6-liter in this, and try and get this thing running and moving again. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.